So this is kind of what we put. Not to say it's the right answer, but it's super consistent with what the groups came up with. So use a kind of dynamic, a flexible pull system, be less dependent on forecasts. That's one, right? And the second is focus, instead of batching orders, right, focus on faster distribution and production, right, smaller batches. So those are the two things. So if we play out what happens for this first one, right, if you do this, what's the cause and effect that will then happen to break you out of the virtuous cycle, right? You'll now have, if you don't do a push system where you're pushing to locations based on long forecasts, the inventory you have, maybe it was a little more expensive, but it'll be in the right place, right? So you're going to have much higher in-stock rates, right? So what's going to happen? You're going to start capturing sales from all your fast movers that previously you were out of stock on, right? Then you're going to have increased sales, right? And then you're going to have higher profits, right? So that's one virtuous cycle. Yeah.
Virtuous cycle.
Yeah, not vicious. Virtuous. Sometimes I say positive and negative too. So the second one, focus on faster distribution and production. If we do that, what's going to happen? We're going to have smaller batches and we're going to have shorter production lead times. If we have that, what's going to happen? We're going to be less poorly affected by bad forecasts. Right? Our forecasts are still going to be somewhat wrong, but we'll be less affected by it. Right? If we're less affected by poor forecasts, what will happen? We'll have less inventory in stock on poor sellers. Right? We won't be carrying all that inventory risk. And if you think about like electronics and things like that, where you have obsolescence, if you can reduce that cost, it's huge. Right? Then what's going to happen? You have working capital freed up to put more money into your fast sellers. Right? Because a lot of times you want to buy something, but you just don't have the money to pay for it yet. Then you're also going to have less money in liquidation. Right? Because these things actually kind of go in parallel, right? But if you have less inventory in stock on poor sellers, you're not going to have to liquidate as much of it, right? And if you're liquidating less and you have more capital to push into your fast sellers, that's going to lead to higher profits, right? So this is, to me, what's kind of cool about this exercise is we started. Who here knew the answer before you walked in? Some people probably did. Not a lot of hands are going up. Some people kind of do. So, I think we started with a set of challenges that exist in the industry that are well known, right? Everybody knows about them, right? And we really just worked through cause and effect and first principle. And both groups each came up with the same solution, right? Understanding the cause and effect and understanding this is where we need to go forward. So that's kind of the cool thing to me about just the thinking process. If you structure your thinking kind of in this way and start really forcing yourself to think cause and effect, you don't have to be a specialist, really. Like everybody can start thinking through problems in this way and come up with similar type solutions.
Just maybe a quick comment.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest advantages of thinking through the cause and effect of the whole cycle, at least from my perspective, is that people often will come to you throughout your career and they'll ask for something like, we need a better forecast, or whatever. We need to, whatever they say. Maybe we need to cut costs. They're not saying we need to have a better forecast. What they're saying is we need higher profits.
Right.
That's what they're saying. They're not saying we need to cut costs. We need to cut heads. They're saying we need better cash flow. If you can do these types of activities, it helps you get at the root of what they're really asking for. And if you can do that, then you won't be chasing your tail around these vicious cycles, right, like you pointed out. It will be really addressing the root cause of the problem and saving a lot of time and money.
Right. Yeah, you can think you're the head of procurement. The CEO comes to you and he says, "I need lower margins. Right? I don't care what you do. Go figure out how to do it." Right. Higher margins. I don't think who wants lower margins? Lower costs, right? Higher margins. And he comes to you and says that, or she comes to you and says that. you can't say no. You can't say, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm against having higher margins. I'm against having lower cost of goods. You can't say no, right? And you may know in your head what's going to happen. He may, like when you get told that by the CEO, it may be clear to him what he wants. But you know all the secondary effects that are going to happen. I'm going to have to do bigger batch orders, right? My forecasts are going to be more messed up. I know I've been pushing my forecast guys. They're doing as good as they can do, right? You may know all that, but it may be very difficult for you to articulate back to them, back to the CEO. I think this is a bad idea, Chief, right? But if you think through it, you say, look, this is what you want. This is the cause and effect. This is kind of the system I think we're in. It's a lot easier to then have a discussion where your goals are aligned. Like, I'm not pushing back on lower cost of goods because I want to have lower profits or I don't care about my job. I'm pushing back on it because these are all the negative consequences I see of pursuing that strategy. But I think you're right. People often in an organization, you think each of these boxes are a collection of these boxes, and this will be like one silo, one department. This will be a different department. And they each have these local measures, as Steve was saying in our group. Cool. So if you look at if you think about theory of constraints, there's thinking processes, which is like how do you approach a problem and tackle it, which is what we just did. And then there's these solutions, right? Which is where people have already gone and thought through the solution, and they say, hey, if you're in the supply chain, you should do these things. And the danger with any solution is that it may not be applicable in every case and every environment, right? So that's why it's always better, if you can, to work from first principle like we did. But as you can see, kind of working from that, we get pretty close, or we get the TOC solution. So here's what it is. Focus on faster manufacturing and distribution lead times to reduce inventory, overproduction, underproduction risks. Right? So that's one strategy. Another strategy is hold your inventory at aggregation points as close as possible to the source. Right? And only send it downstream when there's pull. That's kind of like in parentheses. And second is have a way to dynamically manage your inventory to make sure that it's in stock. So have some kind of dynamic system to measure your inventory and whether it's in or out of stock that's going to adjust to market demand. Right? And that's kind of this, our group was talking about it, that's kind of this fill to stock type system that you want to set up in your company, right? So we're not gonna produce X because our forecast said so. We're gonna adjust how much we're producing or sending based on pull, and so you need an inventory system that's gonna do it. Okay, so that's kind of the approach. I do have a question for the folks here who are involved in supply chains. How relevant is this to your group? Like, is this relevant to, I think, what y'all are doing? Is this my question?
So we actually had a huge inventory reduction initiative, and essentially what we did is we really attacked number 2 and 3. Those were our focus, and we don't have as much of control over the production because any of the buy items they had control over, but any of the make items we really didn't. That's the internal capacity constraints, and we tried to influence that department, but from us, we focused on those number 2 and 3, and it was the results were in our business unit we saved close to $5 million in inventory reduction. Company wide, it was over $3 million. So it had a big impact for cash flow.
Doesn't everybody have a supply chain? I mean, some are maybe more formal, traditional, certify everybody, but everybody has suppliers that face these same kind of issues. These guys are suppliers for us, it's kind of.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you can even look at software development even as having a supply chain. There's no physical goods.
Principle would apply universally. Like I know of some companies, for example, these are IBM, for fact. they set up a distribution system like this for their resources. So instead of like different divisions and different geographies asking for different skills and different resources, which is very hard to forecast, they set up a distribution model where they would get signals from the field. Let's say, hey, I need like a software programmer, or I need this, I need that, and then they would maintain buffers and they would move people like inventory, right? And they would hold the central buffer. Not that people were centralized, but in this case, just the information, like the allocation was centralized, so that the people move to the work rather than so it had big benefits for them. But you're right. In a way, the principles can be applied in a diverse set of circumstances.
Well, if we could apply these to our state budget process,
Yeah,
that would be huge for us.
it's like money distribution.
Budget's the same way, I hadn't even thought of that.
Set up
It's a
a-
supply chain,
What happens?
huge
to-
batch forecast.
We liquidate money locally all the time.
all the you spend it at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Use it or lose it.
Certainly everyone needs a computer.
That's really cool.
Which causes a supply issue for our people. It does, so it's-
And it's the same problem.
You'd be doing the allocation like 2 months at a time.
If the legislature would let us do it, we'd figure it out.
That's the way it works federally. Like, they'll do an allocation, sometimes some groups, like the Veterans Administration, so they have to keep the VA hospital open. So they'll appropriate 2 years worth of advance, but then choke off the first year, or even part of the year, and only provide an allocation. So they have to spend it in chunks, come back and ask for the next set, not before that date. Just in case things blow up, you can keep the hospitals open. WB does that.
And that in and of itself is a vicious cycle, because if you spend all your budget, so you don't have any to allocate, or much to allocate freely for like big issues, then what signal does that send to all your departments? This is last call on money, right? Last call on money, put your money bids in, everybody's gonna ask for enough to protect all their, everything that's gonna come up.
Just like
So they
that.
buffer,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's actually what we were doing, the idea was like toner or copier situation. We would say like we had to have all of our budget spent right up in the first of the month, and then we would run out because you can't predict what someone's going to copy or print that month. So we switched to doing kind of like a min-max system, which doesn't necessarily save us money, but it saves us money in the fact that our customers not going to leave us because we didn't have toner.
Gain revenue.
Yeah.
Keith, we kind of cut you off. You were saying everybody
No,
has a
I-
supply chain, was that it? You spawned a great conversation. I didn't know if you had something else you wanted to add.
That was it.